morning, good afternoon, good evening, you guys. Thank you for joining me here at the Wellness Collective, even though you're in your living rooms right now, waiting out this whole pandemic issue. I just want to let you know real fast, praying for you guys. I know this is really hard. So today I'm just going to bring you sort of a quick tutorial on downward facing dog. So we can get into our flow classes and we can get into other classes and sort of get lazy with our downward dog because we just need to come back to the basics. So the point of this video is to bring us back to the basics of downward facing dog and to really talk through all the parts of the body and what they should be doing in the downward facing dog. So I hope you enjoy this. I hope you get a lot out of it. So we're going to start in our tabletop. So that's our first place that we start. So hands are coming down. Take your index fingers forward. Ring finger, middle finger, pinky fingers flare out. Press the fingertips down into the mat to take the weight away from the heel of the hand. That helps to preserve your wrists, okay? And so from here, we just want to feel really strong here. So pull the belly in your tabletop position. This is also an active pose. The tailbone feels like it's shooting towards the back of the room, and the crown of the head, this part of the head, is pointed forwards. It's really important to have that gaze right down between the hands. And just take a couple of breaths here. And if you'd like to, you can even inhale, lift it up into cow, and then exhale into cat, just kind of warming the spine up here. Good, so coming back to our tabletop, the first way that I'm going to do this downward facing dog is I'm going to do it with blocks, because I think when you're first beginning, this is a really great way to do it. I actually wish I would have learned how to do it with blocks first, because it feels so nice, even when you become more advanced in your practice, to every now and then just grab a couple of blocks or a couple of books that are about the same size and use those. So notice, as I have my blocks here, my index finger is still pointed forward, so I can sort of wrap my thumb and my pinky finger around the block. And my fingers can still press in, and so there's still that engagement. My shoulders are right over my wrists, knees are still under the hips. So we're gonna come into that first downward dog. So inhale, you're gonna tuck your toes under. And on your exhale, the thing that you wanna think about the most is shooting the tailbone to the upper back corner of the room. So we inhale, and we exhale, shifting the weight back. The arms become super straight and super strong. So let's talk about the feet for just a minute. So we typically start with the feet. So the heels can be up, the knees can be bent to shoot that tailbone back. That's a great, great thing to do. If you're very flexible in your hamstrings, then you can begin to move and maneuver those heels down. That's fine as well. Just wherever you are, be in that place, okay? And just be gentle with yourself on the journey, right? So let's talk now about our core, about our belly. So as we're in our downward facing dog, our belly is really, really engaged. So we're pulling the low belly in and up. We're breathing. So the core is supporting that low spine. Remember, the lumbar spine is for stability, not mobility, so it should be completely neutral. Now, one of the most important parts of downward dog, of course, is the shoulders. So thinking about our shoulders here, let's think about the right shoulder for just a second. You want to take the right shoulder and get the sensation that you're turning that right shoulder clockwise. So you're moving that shoulder out. The left shoulder you're going to turn counterclockwise. So you're broadening out the space between the shoulder blades, creating a deeper stretch. Notice that as I externally rotate my shoulders, I'm able to stretch the shoulders a little bit more, a little bit more. And then you would just take several breaths here, just noting how strong you feel in this pose. Notice how powerful you feel in this pose. Notice as well the location and the angle of the head. So I see a lot of times when people are practicing down dog that their chin starts to come into the chest, and a lot of times maybe that's just because they're looking at their feet. They want to see how close their heels are to the floor, and there's nothing wrong with that. But what we really want to have is a neutral neck. So think about where your biceps are and then take your ears and put your ears in the same line as your biceps, and that neutralizes the neck. Good, so we're gonna come back down to tabletop. Nice, and we'll move the blocks away, and so you can see it without the blocks. Remember all of those little cues, the shoulders, the feet, the knees, the belly, all of that stuff, okay? So coming back into tabletop, index fingers pointed forward, other fingers just flared out, nice broad base with those fingers. Press the fingertips into the mat, take a deep breath in, tuck the toes under, and now exhale, shift the hips up and back to the upper back corner of the room. Maybe pedal the feet out as you get here. Shift the hips from side to side to stretch out, that feels so good. Now shoulders, remember, right shoulder rotates clockwise, left shoulder counterclockwise. Broaden the space between the shoulder blades. That's called external rotation of the shoulders. You can keep a big bend in your knees, that's absolutely fine. Or as you begin to have more flexibility, you can bring the heels closer down. Another important little thing to remember is that your downward dog can be as short or as wide as feels good to you. Just note the subtle differences. So if I walk my downward dog out where it's a little bit wider, as I press through those shoulders, the weight is having to shift more towards the hips, but the impact and the stretch for me is more in my shoulders. Okay, so I feel a greater stretch in the shoulders. If I take my down dog shorter, my stance shorter, then the weight is still shifting back into the hips, but I feel the impact and the weight more into my hips, and maybe into my thighs, and maybe I have to bend my knees a little bit more. I tend to like my downward dog personally somewhere in the middle, and most people do. But if your down dog is shorter or wider, that's also okay. Alright, so let's take just a couple of deep breaths here. You can feel that rooting and that grounding through your hands and your feet, pulling the belly in. Softly breathe. Good, now bend the knees, come right back into your tabletop. Maybe take a couple more cat-cows. Inhaling, lifting the chest, lifting the tailbone, dropping the belly. Exhale, protract the shoulders, rounding the upper back, tuck the tailbone under. Inhale, lift. Exhale, round. Good, inhale back to tabletop. Good, so I hope that was informative and beneficial to you. I cannot stress enough how important it is to find that external rotation of the shoulders. That was something that was completely transformative when I learned how to do that in my downward facing dog and a lot of other poses as well. So I hope you enjoyed this. Please take time to take other classes if you can, and support my little studio here in Anderson, South Carolina. Thank you so much for joining me for this tutorial. Namaste.